Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Christmas planning video. Today's video is going to be on the budget. Don't forget, there are two other videos that you will want to take a look at before you watch this one. The first one is on reasons to plan early so you can celebrate later. That is the whole goal here. The second video is on the planner itself. We go through and dissect the entire planner, and don't forget there is a giveaway that is still going on. So you will want to go to that second video, get entered into the giveaway to win a planner for yourself. I believe it ends this coming Wednesday at midnight. So be sure to check that out and get yourself entered into that giveaway. So today is on the budget. This is probably my favorite one in the series. The reason for that being budgeting is a very strong suit or strong area of my life. We all have areas of our life that we are a little bit weak at, but we also have areas of our lives where we are strong, and budgeting is a very strong suit for me. I've been using a system for years. You get really good when you do things repetitively, and the budgeting system that I have used in our everyday life just to get by and function has worked wonderful, and the Christmas budgeting system that we have used for years has worked its magic as well. So, Christmas is the magical season, so I cannot wait to share the Christmas budgeting with you today. In this Christmas budgeting video, I am going to try to break everything down into steps to make it easier for you to understand. The very first step really is just to have your planner filled out. Once you have everything in here, it will make your budgeting much easier. And also, once again, if you have last year's calendar as well as last year's notes, and you have all of that information plugged into your planner, that is going to make things much easier. If you did not have last year's calendar and last year's notes to be able to resource back to plug everything into your planner, don't worry about it. All the things that I have shared with you should help to jog your memory of things that you normally do or things that you would like to do. Also, this is a great opportunity for you to get on the bandwagon for next year. So you know that next year you're going to keep all of your notes from your Christmas planner, and you're also going to keep your family calendar that you keep somewhere on a wall, a desk, or your refrigerator. The other really important thing is that you have your Christmas season bucket list filled out, and you have everything plugged into your November and December calendars, just like I had mentioned in the planner video. The next thing you are going to need are some little white envelopes. You can use Ziploc baggies, whatever you want to use, and you'll need a black Sharpie. You know I love the black Sharpie, and there are many uses for it. But basically what your envelopes are going to be for is you are going to write every single person that you are going to be purchasing a gift for on their own individual envelope. Also, what you are going to spend is going to go on that envelope or Ziploc baggie, and actually anything else that could cost you money that you need to budget for throughout the holiday season. You don't want to forget the little things. Again, your bucket list printable as well as your November and December calendar is where you are going to be able to get to all of that information. So we know that all of the information to go onto the envelopes is actually going to come from your Christmas planner. The events that you have to plan to budget for are going to come from your November and your December calendar, which originally would have came from your bucket list. You will also be making an envelope for every one of your children. Don't forget that if you are doing stocking stuffers for your children, that gets its own envelope as well. So if you have 3 children, you may make an envelope for each child and what you are going to spend. And we'll talk more about how you determine what you are going to spend in just a bit. But if you are going to do stocking stuffers for those 3 children, you would want to make an envelope that says stocking stuffer and that child's name on it as well, one for each of them. You will also make an envelope for every family member that you will be purchasing a gift for. Don't forget about any of the secret Santa gifts that you may be doing for family members. And again, same envelope system for friends. The other people I want you to think about when you're making out your envelopes are teachers, mail carriers, instructors for your children's after school programs. There are so many things, so you really need to think about it. That is why once you have your notes from the previous year, you will know all of these things. The other thing that you'll need an envelope for is your Christmas cards. Christmas cards cost money. If you're getting a photo shoot taken, the photo shoot is going to cost you money. You're going to have to pay money for postage. Are you going to do address labels, seals? All of those things add up, and all of those things need to have an envelope because money is going to be going into those envelopes. Moving right along to the decor inventory for indoor, outdoor, and tree. Again, we have a page for each one. Do you need to pick up or purchase any things? When it comes to decorating, if you're on a tight budget and you haven't really picked up a lot of Christmas decor because maybe you're just starting out, my recommendation for you would be to start with one thing each year. Maybe this year it is going to be the tree. So everything you pick up and purchase is really only going to be for the tree, and you can tackle something else another year. In a perfect world, we'd get it all in one year, but most of us are not living in that perfect world. If you're going to do any crafts, I had mentioned if you get on Pinterest and you see some cute crafts that you want to make as gifts or just to do with your children for keepsakes, those goodies can add up. You want to start watching for coupons or download some of the apps on your phone so that you can get some of those resources to save some money. You always want to try to save money during the Christmas season if you can, but these little items do add up. Baking is another one. I had mentioned in my planner video that I love to bake, and I have to allocate for the expense for that, and I try to break it up into the 4 pay periods that lead up to the Christmas season so that I'm not purchasing it all on one grocery shopping trip. We have a big family. We allocate so much for groceries. If I'm buying it all in one grocery trip, we might not be eating anything but baked goods. And that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good on the waistline. We'd be pudging out like Santa Claus. Party, if you're gonna be hosting a party, what all do you need to set money aside to host that party? Again, do you need to rent anything? Do you need to pick up invitations and postage for that? Do you want to order some fresh flowers? Are you going to be having everybody bring a dish to pass? Are you going to be doing most of the entrees, appetizers, and desserts yourself? That's all going to add up to expense. If you're going to order party plans, you have to allocate for all those things. There are always a lot of hidden costs to hosting a party. I know that because we entertain all the time. Again, it's something I've gotten really good at, so I do kind of have it down to a science, but you do want to plan for that. Do you need to order a cake for something? You know, ordering a cake can be very expensive, so you have to take all of this into consideration. We also have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. There's expenses that could be involved in those. So you want to make sure you are not missing anything. Again, a lot of times what happens with people is they think of Christmas as shopping. They always forget about all the expenses to entertainment and all the little things that take place during the Christmas season. And when we go through my envelopes, hopefully there will be things that you'll go, oh my gosh, I really never thought about that. I need to add that to my envelope. So you sat down with your envelopes, you sat down with your planner, you wrote everything that is going to be taking place or anybody that you need to purchase a gift for onto the envelopes. You might want to hold off, especially if you are on a tight budget, and frankly, who isn't on a tight budget, especially during the holidays? You may want to hold off on the exact amount that you're going to put on every envelope. This is when you want to sit down with your spouse if you have one, or if you are doing this solo, you're going to have to figure it out from your own income or what your budget allows. There are a couple different ways that you can do this. For my husband and I, we are so used to the system that we use that we pretty much know exactly what we are going to spend every single year to do everything that we want to do and to provide the gifts for our loved ones. Because we know this and we are pre-planners, we actually take the money that we are going to spend on Christmas out of our income tax return every single year, and we stash that money away. And what we do is, as it gets closer to Christmas, like right now, that is when I go take the cash out of where we stored it and I start breaking it down into envelopes. Sometimes I have to go to my bank and get the exact denomination to break down the envelopes, but they're pretty used to it at my bank because I do this every 2 weeks just for our regular bills and our envelope system for that, which will be in a future video. I know a lot of you are waiting to see that one. But for us, Christmas budgeting is easy because it's all pre-planned. So we don't really have to sit down and do a system. For a lot of people out there, they have not even thought about Christmas until they watched my first Christmas planning video, and I get that. But where does that leave you with the budget? How much do you have set aside currently to go towards the Christmas budget? A lot of people, probably nothing, because again, they have not thought about it and they don't pre-plan for it. So if that is you and you feel like, oh, if I could go back, I would do that, just make that your goal next year, that you will start pre-planning, and you'll be doing that starting in the month of January, believe it or not. That is the best way to do it so that you don't have to go into credit card debt. And people rack up credit card debt year after year. If you are somebody that does not prefer to use cash, that is perfectly fine. This method can work for anybody. I'm not saying it has to be cash. It's really just you have to know where your money is coming from. If you want to keep it all into your bank account and use your debit card, I think that's wonderful. A lot of people don't like to carry cash. I really don't carry a lot of cash. I work out of a debit card system for a lot of things as well. But I also do have things that I like to break down and have cash for, because it really does keep me on track and it keeps me from overspending on my budget. I think the thing that you have to be careful with if you're using a debit card, and this is also going to apply to those of you that choose to use a credit card, which again, I understand a lot of people like to use their credit cards. You can get points to go towards certain things, and a lot of people claim that they pay their card off every single month. I think you and I both know that that is not actually true. It is for some people, it is. I know people that I truly believe do that, but more people are not. It's just a proven fact. I think the important thing is that, number one, you know where the money is coming from and you stay within your budget. I think it's very easy if you are using a plastic card like debit or credit to overspend, where if you are using the envelope system and you're putting cash into the envelopes, it is a lot harder to overspend because you only have that cash to work with. Now, I know there is someone out there right now going, what if I don't have the money to spend? Maybe it's really tight this year. Maybe something unfortunate happened and the funds just are not there to provide the goodies that you would like to do for your loved ones. Well, what I have to say is maybe you won't be able to do as many things this year as far as entertainment. Maybe you enjoy going out for dinner with certain friends this time of year. Maybe you won't be able to do that, but your goal for next year can be that you save the money and have the resources so that you can enjoy the Christmas season. For some people, they're going through hardship. We understand that, but I'm going to tell you something right now. There is no more precious gift than the gift of time. My absolute favorite gift from anybody is the gift of time, way over anything that they could ever package up into a pretty bag or wrap with a pretty bow. I much prefer the gift of time. It is the greatest gift. So there's never an excuse for not giving. It is the season for giving, and it does not have to be in the form of a gift. It can be in the form of your time and your love, and I think that, again, is just the #1 gift to give. So again, for my husband and I, it is very easy because we already have the money set aside. But again, we are tailoring this more for those of you that are just looking for tips to come up with your own system. My advice to you is to sit down and really take a look at what can I spend this year for Christmas? And then what you are going to do is you are going to pull out all of your envelopes that have everybody's name or every activity or every event that is going to cost you some money. And then you are going to break it down. There are no right or wrong amounts to spend on your children. There are no right or wrong amounts to spend on anybody in your family or your friends. What you give to the needy, it does not matter. It is all going to be tailored personally to what you can do to keep yourself from sinking into the sea of debt. That is not where you want to go. I am going to go through every single envelope that I have written out. And sometimes later on, a new one will pop in and I will have to pick up another envelope and write it in, because there's things that come up year to year. Children are in new activities. Really just, you have to be open to things that come up. And that's why I also think it's really important to have a miscellaneous envelope that just has those extra things that maybe you neglected to plan for. While diving into the envelopes, I'm not going to share the amount on every single envelope. I will on a few, but some of this is personal and I don't feel that I would ever want anybody to have any pressure. What I will tell you with my children's envelopes is our kids are getting older now, and I'm going to go into a few shopping tips later on for different ages and how we have done things in the past and what we do now that our children are older. But this can vary from year to year. We actually backed off a little bit this year, but our girls buy a lot of their own things. They pay for their own college education. Some people frown on that, but we do a lot of other things to compensate for that. We also have weddings that we will eventually be paying for because we have 5 girls. But I will say we do go, I think, a little bit generous for their birthdays and for Christmas because we don't do a lot for them throughout the year. So this is when we really try to make up for it. And again, the money goes in the envelope. I also store the receipt in that envelope. So let's take, for example, my very first envelope is for my daughter, Kirsten, my oldest daughter. The amount that we want to spend on her is in this envelope. When I purchase that gift or those gifts that are going to equal up to what the budget is for Kirsten, I will put her receipt in there. The other beauty with that is after Christmas, if she needs that receipt to do an exchange or return, we know exactly where to get it. I have an envelope for each one of our daughters, and for each and every daughter, we spend the same amount. We do not do stockings anymore for them. When they were little, we did do stockings. Those were a lot of fun and they really looked forward to them. And I'm sure that my girls miss them, but they are at the age now because they're older where there are more higher ticket items that they would like. So to get them a bunch of little nitty gritties in a stocking, although it's really fun, it's really not practical anymore. So I just went through all of my children. This one is Chloe's birthday. So out of the Christmas fund that we had stored away that we are working out of, we also put Chloe, that's our 5th daughter, Pips, as many of you will know her on Snapchat. We put her birthday money here in as well. So if you have, again, a birthday in December or something else that you're not thinking about that's really not related to Christmas, but you're still going to need the money for, you want to have an envelope for that. I also have an envelope for the boys that are in the family. So now a couple of my girls have long-term boyfriends. They are like family to us. I set aside money for the boyfriends as well. One of those boyfriends has a daughter, so I put money in an envelope for her because we buy for her every year for her birthday and every year for Christmas as well. If you are purchasing for your parents, you would want to make an envelope for them. Maybe you buy a combined gift every year for mom and dad, so you would put mom and dad on one envelope, or for your in-laws. Maybe you buy them separate gifts. It just depends on how you do it. Make an envelope out for however you choose to shop for them. These envelopes are not categorized in any rhyme or reason. I have one here called backup gifts. You always want to have some money stored away for a backup gift. And I'll tell you a little secret or something that I do. You are all familiar with the car caddy. If you don't know what the car caddy is, I'll link that video down below. That's a great video and it talks about what I store in my car for when I am in need. Well, one of the things that I do during the Christmas season is I pick up a couple gift cards and I pick up a couple greeting cards and I keep them in the back with my car caddy. If I'm ever at a social event or I run into somebody and I want to give them a gift, or let's say somebody gave me a gift and I want to reciprocate, I would have that backup gift in my car. A lot of times it will be a gift card, and what I try to do is I try to pick up gift cards that we would use, that I would use, my husband would use, or one of the family members would use, because if I don't need to utilize that backup gift, that gift card will still come in handy. So I might pick up like a $15 Sephora gift card, I might pick up a Starbucks gift card, I might pick up a $25 gift card for Carrabba's, like a restaurant or something like that, but those are always worth having on hand. And again, if you don't need it, you get to have it for Christmas yourself because you didn't need to use it. So there's another gift for you. And I love it. Also, I did allocate money. I am having my house cleaned. I don't have a house cleaner, but I had mentioned before that once in a while when times are busy, I will hire our house cleaner that I used to have way back in the day to come and clean. I have her scheduled for one day in November and I have her scheduled for one day in December. So I had to set money aside for that. Again, this is something I do every year. So that was part of the whole big Christmas budget that we are working out of. Teacher and instructor gifts. Does your child have piano lessons? Do they have dance lessons? Do you want to get the teacher something? You don't need to do anything big, and let me know if you would like me to do a video specifically on teacher and instructor gifts, because I think that could be a really great one. Gift cards are great, whatever. We're not going to get into all that, but you need to set money aside if that is something you are going to do. Do I always feel it's necessary? Not really. I don't know. I mean, that's really for your preference. We do it, but if I were a teacher and not every child in the class got me something, that wouldn't bother me one bit. I would much rather see people spending money on their family than myself. Don't forget, if you want to give your nail tech a token during the holiday season, or your hairstylist or anybody like that, you would want to have an envelope for that. We are also in a couple gift exchanges for ladies and men. I always have to allocate money for that. Usually there's a budget to work with. Ours is usually like a $15 man's gift or a $15 ladies gift, but it is something that you have to budget for if you're going to participate. This would again be, though, if money is tight for you, you can still go to the party. We do have family members that don't participate in the ladies and men gift exchange just because it doesn't fit into their budget. Nobody looks down on them. That's perfectly fine. You do what works for you. Don't worry about everybody else. I would never want somebody not to come to a party. If we were hosting a party and did a ladies and men's gift exchange where every lady brings a $15 gift and every man brings a $15 gift, I wouldn't want somebody not to come just because they weren't going to participate. We also have another one here, ladies and men. So we have two ladies and men's gift, and all of them are a $15 gift, but I always allocate 20 because I figure with tax and all that stuff, I always err on the higher side and plan for tax in those goodies. We are hosting a birthday party this year, and it's combined with a graduation party. Again, we host this every year, so I always know that every year I need to allocate and set aside money for that party. I like to order flowers. We do a little catering. I do a lot of cooking. I do have to pick up some rentals. These are all things that you need to plan for. And just like I had mentioned, one of them is a graduation, so we have a graduation gift to give. So I set money into an envelope for that graduation gift. Bobby is McKenna's boyfriend. I'm sure anybody that follows me on Snapchat, you're recognizing every single name that I pull up, which I love. It just makes you part of the family. The other one is giving those in need, and that is, we have an angel tree at our church and we love to participate in that, but you want to set aside money so that you can give something for those in need. If you can't do that, give your time this holiday season. Go give your time at a soup kitchen. Do whatever you need to do. It is so powerful and impactful, that feeling that you get when you are helping those in need. Don't forget about the bell ringers. Always keep some change in your car. Not this glass vase. Please don't leave that. But whatever you want to use to keep some change in, or if you do dollar bills, I always like to do change because I like the sound of it. But always, when you're getting out of your car and you are going into any grocery store or any shopping center, grab a handful just like that and go and drop it in for the bell ringers. Again, it is a perfect time to give to those that are less fortunate. I love our mail lady. Gosh, I would love it if she was watching me, because I love our mail lady, so I always do something special for her. And I love UPS guy. Now, for those of you that follow me on Snap, you're probably saying Tom, because a lot of times I will snap when Tom, my UPS driver, pulls in or pulls out. But there are always additional UPS drivers that work in the holiday season, so I always have to plan for at least a couple different people, and a lot of times I just get them a gift card. That's usually what I get, and I put it in a nice little small greeting card. I'll buy like a pack of 8 cute greeting cards, or ones that hold a gift card, and that's what I will give like the mail carrier, the UPS, what's the other one, FedEx. I like to give to them. If that does not work in your budget though, don't worry about it. Those are the things that don't need to be important. Take care of your children and your loved ones first. My hubby and I schedule a date night every December, and we always eat at a very, very nice restaurant. A lot of times it's the same one every year, and we spend a lot of money on that date night. So this is a biggie, and I set aside and allocate for that. Again, all of these things are coming from the November and December calendar. We also like to go out with friends. Like for instance, Amy Henson and her husband Kelly, we like to do a dinner out with them. I have 2 envelopes because there are a couple different couples that we like to see every year and go out and celebrate with during the holiday season. So the important thing is you're not forgetting about the little things like that. We also have a birthday cake that we will need to be picking up because we'll be celebrating Chloe's birthday and Bobby's graduation. So again, there will be more. I've actually got a few more sitting over here, but I think that really gives you an idea of the different type of things to think about. I know the big question is probably, but how do I not go over budget? Well, if you use this system, even if you can't implement everything this year, make it a goal to implement it next year. Also be careful of using plastic, whether it's debit or credit. It's very easy. If you've allocated $100 to spend on someone, it's very easy when you're using plastic versus cash to go over that $100 budget. Also, when I talk about planning early, how many paychecks till Christmas? Well, for us, my husband and I get paid bi-monthly. That means we have 5 paychecks till Christmas. Well, if you haven't already been setting money aside for the Christmas budget, where is that going to leave you? You wouldn't get very far in 5 paychecks after paying all your bills, gassing up your tank a couple times, all the things that take place in half a month's time frame. So you always have to consider that. That is why I really think that you should be planning for the following Christmas, starting right at the beginning of the year. You sock away a little bit every single paycheck to go into some special Christmas fund or special envelope or whatever you want to do with it. Also, I still think shopping and getting it done before Thanksgiving is huge. I know there are a lot of great deals on Black Friday, and a lot of people love to shop. It can be an annual tradition that you do. That is all great, but you've got to stick to your envelopes. Even if you do choose to use plastic in the form of credit or debit, you're still gonna make out the envelope. You're still gonna put the amount on there that you plan on spending. This is gonna be a great place for you to put the receipt of what you purchased, and it's also going to help you stay on track. You don't wanna eliminate doing the envelope system just because you're not paying with cash. If you are doing shopping closer to Christmas, be very careful. When we are stressed, when we are overwhelmed, when we feel frazzled, we tend to make more impulsive decisions, which a lot of times is going to result in us spending more money than we intended on doing. Also, always remember that it is not up to anybody else how much you spend on someone. Set aside the fact that somebody could spend more on you than you do them, or let's say one of your siblings and their spouse spends more money on your parents. You have to set that aside. We all have different resources to work with. My sister, for example, has always been able to provide heftier ticketed gifts for the parents than my husband and I have been able to. Her and her husband's income is much greater than ours. But that's okay. There's never been a level of competition. So if you feel that there's a competition inside of you with someone else, you need to set that aside. You do what you can do. This is not about what the person is getting. It is not about how much you spend. It is the thought that you put into the gift or the time that you devote to that person. Those are the true meaning of Christmas. It is not about the number that is on the envelope. It's really not. So moving on to some suggestions for gifts. Well, let's talk about the children. That's the big one. When our kids were little, what we did is we did not set a dollar amount per child, but instead we set a limit to how many gifts they get. So we might say each child gets 7 gifts. And we would try to make sure those gifts were balanced. So we may spend more on one than the other. And I think that is a great thing to do when your children are younger. Now that our kids are older, we set a dollar amount. And they understand that. They know if they ask for a new iPhone, if one asks for that, it could eat up all their money. And they might even be giving us some money. That is another thing. With our older children, one year I think we had one kid ask for a plane ticket to go on a trip. Well, the plane ticket was going to cost more than what we had allocated in the budget, so she just paid the difference. It's whatever works. It's however you want to do it. I like more personal gifts, but the age that my children are at, I let them create a list and provide it for me. And the goal is that they're going to get what they want, not necessarily what exactly maybe I would want to purchase for them. It's really going to vary. You just have to look at where your adult children are. Can they use the money for other sources besides an actual physical gift? So again, it's going to be what works for you. Another thing that I've always loved with kids, and we've done this, and I know many people have, is they have done the 3-gift policy where each child gets 3 gifts. Those gifts being gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So some parents will choose to get their child 3 gifts just as Jesus received. And I love that. I think that's a great tradition to start. Or you could do that with your grandchildren. The other thing that I'm really loving that maybe some of you have heard about is the 4 gifts at Christmas. And I love this one, and it is something that I'm considering doing once we have grandchildren. Those 4 gifts are want, need, wear, read. So what that is you get each child something they want, you get the child something they need, you get the child something they'll wear and something they'll read. So you get like a book, a toy, maybe a clothing item. This could be socks, underwear, whatever, and then you get them something they need. And you would be the judge of maybe something that they need, or you would ask their parents. So I just love that, and I think it's a great thing to do either with your children or if your children are grown with your grandchildren. Again, you wouldn't have to set a certain dollar amount that you spend on each child. You could just write on their envelope that you are getting those 4 different items. Well, there you have it, folks, the Christmas budget. I sure hope that you found something useful that you can apply to your Christmas budgeting for this year. And if not this year, something that can give you a goal to work on for next year. Don't forget that anything that I am wearing today, which everything is pretty much new, it will all be linked below, and always additional information will be in the blog post. I always include sizes and any other suggestions or tips that I would have for shopping what I am wearing. Also, don't forget to watch the first 2 videos and get entered for the Christmas planner giveaway, which is lasting a few more days. I'm so excited to get that mailed out to the person that wins it so that they can get into the planning mode and get into the spirit so they can plan ahead to celebrate later. That is the whole goal. So thank you so much for joining me. I've been loving doing this Christmas series. Please let me know down below what else you would like to see. Of course, you know I will do gift guides, but what other things to do with planning you would like to see that I have not provided for you already. All right, have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah!